Okay, welcome to 501, Section 2, Week 3. This week we'll revisit two concepts, opportunity cost and another concept, and then we'll introduce some new concepts. And finally, we'll discuss a little bit about the assignment number one, which will be given today after the class. So where's the slides? Okay. Can you see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely. So what we'll do today, we'll revisit two concepts, opportunity cost and incentives. We'll look at why opportunity cost is important in decision making, what impacts it has. Then we'll look at incentives, how we can create incentives whereby people do what we want them to do and people don't do what we don't want them to do. And then what we'll do, we'll look at the basic assumption of the competitive model on which theoretical economics rests on. Then as the course proceeds, you'll see that we are going to deviate from the competitive model because the competitive model never exists in reality. Then we'll look at alternatives to price signaling and how resources may be allocated. And finally, we'll discuss marginal analysis, and then we'll discuss the assignment number one. Okay, so from the last two classes, we tried to establish the fact that opportunity cost arises because of scarcity. The scarcity was of three dimensions. We said there's time scarcity, there's income scarcity, there's also technology scarcity. And you can add other ones if you like. But because of scarcity, even if we have three or four options in front of us, we cannot choose more than one in most cases. So that's why when we make a choice, when we decide, we make a decision, we have to compare between all the options in front of us. And then when we compare, we automatically rank options. We rank from best to the worst. If we are trying to look at something that we like, we do the reverse ranking if we are looking at cost minimization, for example. So in that case, the minimum cost is the one that we like the most. So and then we said that in any economic activity or any choice, there are benefits to get, but in order to get those benefits, we have to pay some kind of cost. And these costs may not necessarily be for one time period, they may be a stream of benefits and costs which we have to pay or we enjoy over time. So we had three options. Option A was MBA at another university. Option B was MBA at BRAC University. And option C, let's make it a third type of option, that this is a good job offer we get before we decide to do an MBA at BRAC University outside Dhaka. It will pay a very good salary, and there's lots of perks related to it. So these are the three options that we have in front of us. And then what we have said that we are going to choose an MBA at BRAC University because all of us are here right now. Now, what did we do? We defined that B is BRAC, A is an MBA in an alternative university, C is a good job offer outside Dhaka. Now, if this is our ranking, B is better than A is better than C, then the second best alternative that was in front of us before we made the decision is the opportunity cost to choose B. If our ranking was different, for example, B better than C, better than A, then C is the opportunity cost of choosing B. Okay, I think all of us are clear about this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we
Yes,
said
sir.
that the costs and benefits, we've divided them into two parts. There are explicit benefits and costs. There are implicit benefits and costs. What are explicit benefits and costs? Costs that we can see with our eyes and we can measure with money or some other kind of metric. For example, if we can do a MBA at BRAC University, then there's some prestige related to it that will help us in the job market. So that will that may contribute to a higher salary. So that salary, how much we may get, we can quantify in terms of money. Okay, but at the same time, there are some benefits and costs which are implicit, which are hidden. We know they exist, but we cannot quantify them. Now, even if we can't quantify a cost, we can do one thing, and that is we can measure them qualitatively. How do we do qualitative measures? We rank best, better, good. So if this is our rank, we definitely go for best. We know that best is better than better, and better is better than good. So we can rank, can't we rank costs and benefits like this, even if we can't measure them? Even if we can't measure a benefit or a cost in terms of money or any other metric, is it possible to qualitatively give them a degree like best, better, good? Is it possible to give them a degree like best, better, good?
No, sir.
No,
No?
sir. No, sir.
Why not?
It's possible.
It's possible because we can't quantify something. But even if we can't quantify, can't we tell that this is a good option? This is a better option. This is the best option. Can we do? Can we calculate like this at least?
Yes, sir.
So that's what we do as a second line of method. If we can't quantify something, most in most cases in advanced courses, when you do, you find models that are obsessed with quantification, that they have to put a number to it. But in practical terms, sometimes we can't assign numbers. In that case, what is our second line of attack? Our second line of attack is, can we qualitatively rank these benefits and costs? কোনটা আমাদেরকে বেশি আনন্দ দিচ্ছে, কোনটা মাঝারি দিচ্ছে, কোনটা কম দিচ্ছে? Even if we think like that, which one is giving us the most happiness, a little bit less, the least, then we can rank as best, better, good, or worst, worse, bad. We can do we can rank them like this. So the hidden costs or the hidden benefits that we can't quantify. So what do? We can rank them. So now the choice of an MBA, we have chosen an MBA at BRAC University. We have done that, and this is the whole basis of our assignment that we are going to give just after the class. That there are two sets of undergrads in this class. How many of you have done an undergrad at BRAC University?
Me, sir.
I have, sir.
Me too.
And you too. That means I'm sure at least 1/3 or 40% of the class has done their undergrad at BRAC University. And the other part have done their undergrad from some alternative university. So whether you have done your undergrad at BRAC University or not, that will influence your choice to do an MBA at BRAC, won't that? Because if you have done your undergrad at BRAC, you are familiar with the environment, you're familiar with the location of the university, you're familiar with lots of things. So you will definitely have a biasness or an inkling or liking towards doing an MBA at BRAC compared to any other alternative university. Those of you who have come from an alternative university, you may have compared the same degree with your own university. Did you do that? How many
Yes,
of you?
sir.
Yeah, so those of you who have come from an alternative university, whichever university you came from, so you must have compared the MBA at your university compared to BRAC. Then you made a decision. So whichever cohort you belong to, that definitely influenced your decision. And what did you do? You compared. The moment you compare, you're ranking that this option is better, this option is not, or vice versa. This option is better, this option is not. So you're ranking one option to another, whether you did your undergrad in BRAC or whether you did your undergrad from elsewhere. Next is the question of finance. How many of you thought about financing before you made this decision? Everybody did, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And how did you think? How did you finance this? Make the finance decision. Okay, you made an estimate that over 2 years, if you're doing the MBA in one shot, or over 3 years, if you're doing it part time, then this is the total cost that you have to incur. Let's say that cost is 100 taka. Of this 100 taka, how much can you get a waiver? How much can you get a scholarship? All of you made this calculation with BRAC and with an alternative university as well, right? Didn't you all do this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All of you did this. That this is the total cost, and there are lots of costs which are hidden. For example, there is a traveling cost. Okay, if you live in say Naranganj, somebody may have come from Naranganj or Demra, not too far away from Naranganj. So coming from Demra to attend a class at Mohakhali is not only financially challenging, it's also physically challenging. So is there anyone in this class who have not now, but when the classes become face to face, we'll have to do a lot of traveling in order to attend the class?
স্যার আমি অহনা বলছিলাম সো I regularly travel from Naranj to Dhaka like for last 5 years in my undergrad life and now in my job life too.
So you are a very good person to answer this question. So you had two costs which you had to calculate. Number one, the financial cost, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Next was your health cost, right?
Yeah.
So when you made a decision that you had to study another 2 years or whatever, so this decision was definitely in your head or in your calculation compared to another alternative, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is exactly what I'm saying. So the cost, you will be spreading it over a period of 2 years or 3 years. That doesn't matter. But the cost is not only the costs that we see. There are lots of hidden costs.
Yes,
For
sir.
the traveling cost, which we can measure,
Yes, sir.
and then the health cost, we can't measure it, but we can at least qualitatively say that we will get a lot of pain out of a lot
Yes,
of
sir.
excessive traveling, right, Ohana?
Yes, sir. And especially right now, as I'm doing my, I'm pursuing my full-time job. So it's also very important that the distance from my office to university.
Yes, definitely. So because when face-to-face classes start, if
Yeah.
your office is say in Motijhel,
Yeah.
come from Motijhel to Mohakhali, finishing your office and attending the class at 6:30. Okay.
Yeah, it's completely it's impossible right
In-
now. My office is in Bonani, so it's really easy to
Okay.
yeah, to attend
So
the class, right?
so when you made these decisions, you had to take all these the factors into consideration, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the objective of saying this is that uh, financing has implicit costs which we can't calculate. Like Ohana said that she has to travel from Naranganj every day, and there's a health cost. And there's also costs which we can calculate. Now the next thing is, where are you located in Dhaka? For example, Ohana says now her office is in Bonani, but if she's going to do this MBA for 2 years or 2.5 years, then she might be posted somewhere else. She might have to go to Uttara. She might have to go to say Motijhel. So coming from those areas, you also have to take these things into consideration. Now let us look at the benefits. Benefits, you calculate yourself. If you can finish an MBA at BRAC University, what are the benefits that you can measure? You can measure in terms of salary. What are the benefits that you can't measure, but you know that you will get a benefit? You will get the alumni. Okay, the BRAC Business School has a good reputation in the market compared to other alternative business schools. So these are benefits that you can rank. Okay, I can give it A, I can give it A plus, I can give it A minus. Can't you give a letter grade to the BRAC degree? Is it possible to give a letter grade to the BRAC degree if you finish your MBA from BRAC compared to say some other business school?
Yes, sir.
You can give a letter degree, right? Okay. Acha. So what we, and then you do the same thing for the cost. The objective is that the benefits and the costs, they are of two types. Some of the benefits we can measure in terms of money or any other metric. Some of the benefits and costs we can't measure, but we can at least tell, give a letter grade that yes, this is highly costly, this is less costly, this is highly beneficial, this is less beneficial. Then after we have done that, oh yeah, yeah, these well, I've already discussed it. Then what we do, we see whether this is the case. Which one has the get greater net benefit? Okay, option A, MBA at an alternative university. So what is the stream of benefits? What is the stream of costs? Then we calculate net benefit. Option B, MBA at BRAC University. What is the stream of benefits over time, stream of costs over time? And then we calculate net benefit. Option C, a highly paid job outside Dhaka during these 2 years or 3 years. What is the benefits? What is the cost? Now we have the net benefits of all the three options. Option A, option B, and option C. Then we just calculate which one has a greater net benefit. That's it. So if you are asked in the assembly, which will be that, can you make a comparison of the three options that are given? Can you calculate this thing? Benefit summation of benefits is greater than summation of costs. That means net benefits is greater than 0. Which one has the greater net benefit? Can't you calculate it now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Maybe when before you came to do an MBA at BRAC, you did not think so rigorously. But now if you think, you will be able to think that, okay, that option, I did not see this benefit in that option, which I sacrificed, or I did not see the cost in that option, which I sacrificed. এখন এই জিনিসটা আরো clear হবে না? When you do this exercise now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely. Now, the second part of the assignment is this one. When we talk about opportunity cost, we are calculating costs before we make a decision. So what is the environment that we face before we make a decision? Option A and option C, which we found to be inferior, were in front of us. Once we have committed to option B, option A and option C has gone. They have, that's why we call it a sunk cost. Once a decision has been made, whatever options were available before the decision was made have vanished. That was, it becomes a sunk cost. In decision-making science, we assume that the decision maker is not influenced by a sunk cost. Acha, is there everybody here? Is there any foreign person here? Do you have any non-Bangladeshi here, non-Bengali speaking person? Okay. এরকম কি হয়েছে যে একটা জুতা কিনলাম, খুব মজা করে একটা জুতা কিনলাম, কিনে পরে দেখা গেল যে জুতাটা 7 দিন পরে আর ভালো লাগছে না?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, অনেক
এটা 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 ছেলে মেয়েদের সময় হয় একটা জুতা কেনা। হ্যাঁ, এবং জুতার উদাহরণটা আমি কেন দিলাম, জুতা হচ্ছে এমন একটা জিনিস যেটা আমরা 16 ঘন্টা পরে থাকি।
Yes, sir.
আমরা যদি রাত্রে 8 ঘন্টা ঘুমাই, কথার কথা 16 ঘন্টা আমরা জুতা পরে থাকি না?
Yes, sir.
So the juta has to be extremely comfortable. It doesn't have to be expensive, but এটা comfortable হবে কি হবে না, we can only find that out after we have bought that shoe and then used it for a time. তাই না? So এরকম আমাদের প্রত্যেকের হয়েছে, we bought a shoe and then after 7 days we found out that it's not comfortable. তখন আমরা কি কুফা বলি না? এই ডিসিশনটা কুফা ছিল?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Once we say kufa in decision making science, in modeling, we assume that the past does not influence the present. We made the decision in the past based on information that we had in the past. But now that we are in a new environment, now that we are 1 semester into the MBA, or some of you are 2 semesters into the MBA, now you can calculate whether this decision was a good decision or not. The problem with the textbooks is that textbooks do not discuss sunk costs because they don't discuss because they assume that the past decision no longer is going to influence your current decision. But we will discuss this in the assignment. So, what was the best in the past may or may not be the best now. If your experience with the MBA program so far has been good, great. If it hasn't, what will you do? Can you guys tell me what you'll do? Suppose your one semester has
Switch to
gone.
another university.
But আরেকটা ইউনিভার্সিটি পাওয়াটা এত সোজা না. What will you do then? If you can, great. But if you can't, what will you do? This is the whole exercise of this assignment that we're going to give out after today's class. Last section of it.
Switch to another department.
Oh, see, you already have options in front of you, right? Now what do? You make a decision. Now you make a cost benefit analysis, just like you did before you entered BRAC. I'm doing the MBA. I finished 2 semesters, but I found out that I'm not enjoying it, or maybe I'm finding it too much challenging for whatever reason. What do I do now? Do I change to another program? Do I go to an MDS, which BRAC offers? Do I do a master's in economics, which BRAC offers? My undergrad is in English. Do I go for a master's in English, which BRAC offers? Then we make the calculation again. What is the benefit, the stream of benefits? What is the stream of costs? বোঝা গেছে?
Yes, sir.
So how you will do that? So the everybody has their own personal view. For example, আমার সামনে আছে Rishikesh. He has one personal view. Then we have Tahmida, we have Samia, MCC মানে কি? না?
স্যার প্রবাবলি হচ্ছে এটা আমার কোম্পানির ইমেল দিয়ে হচ্ছে লগইন হয়েছে তাই।
Oh, acha, login হয়েছে তো okay, no problem. So we have Ohana, we have Arafat, we have Aisha. So if we ask these six individuals, they will give 6 types of answers. So in the assignment, you tell me what you think is best for you. Only you know what is best for you. Okay, so basically you're going to do a self-assessment of yourself in this assignment based on opportunity cost and what do you call it? Sunk costs. Acha. Before we get to the next topic, does anybody have any questions?
Sir, in the last example, do you have to measure with any numbers, like ranking with numbers?
Just a second. Oh, what was the question? Sorry, paused হয়ে গেছিল.
Sir, can you hear me now?
I can hear now. Yes, carry on.
Sir, in our last example, sir, do we need to measure by via numbers? Sir, you said, do we have to measure opportunity cost and any other cost?
If you can measure something in terms of numbers, how can you measure? For example, if you do MBA at BRAC, you will know normal graduate কোথায় কোথায় চাকরি পাচ্ছে. এই information তোমার কাছে আছে না? Don't you have this information?
Yes, sir.
You also know what type of salary these BRAC graduates are getting. So you can quantify that. But doing a MBA at BRAC has lots of side benefits. You have the BRAC logo on you. If you apply to BRAC Bank, won't you be getting an extra advantage over other people?
Yes, sir.
If you apply to BRAC University, BRAC, the BRAC organization, any sister organization of BRAC, won't you get an extra advantage?
Yes, sir.
Acha, BRAC has lots of research cells. Okay, so if you can, if you think that, okay, if I do a MBA at BRAC, I have a BRAC logo on behind me, I can also think of an alternative career later on in one of their research cells. Can't you do that?
Yes, sir.
Oh, but can you quantify these benefits? Is it possible for you to quantify?
No, sir, it's not actually.
No,
made.
sir.
It's not possible, but these benefits are benefits that you know that will exist if you can do an MBA from grad. But you can definitely give them a letter grade, right? A plus, A minus, এভাবে দেওয়া যাবে না? These benefits
Yes.
or these costs. So to answer your question, the benefits and the costs, some of them you can quantify in terms of money or any other unit of metric. Some of them you can't. Those that you can't, you can at least give a qualitative ranking. A minus, A plus, etc. এভাবে করা যাবে না? Person who asked me the question, can you do it like
Yes, sir.
this?
Yes, sir, I got it.
You got the point now, right?
Yes, sir, I got it.
Okay. So shall we move on to the next topic, incentives? Acha, incentives here. This assignment is not going to have incentives. Maybe this assignment 2 will. Acha, let me discuss incentives. When we talk about incentives, automatically the opposite word also comes into our head, disincentives. So incentives is something that creates an environment for people to do something. Disincentives is something that creates an environment for people to keep away from a particular activity. So if you have a business organization or even a small coffee shop, was it Ohana who's the Northland coffee person?
Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely. So I think in the last week we discussed the coffee shop example. So if we have a coffee shop, Ohana goes to one coffee shop a lot. So if she decides to make a coffee, give a coffee shop, since she loves that coffee shop so much, she knows what things she likes about that coffee shop that automatically makes her want to go there. At the same time, she also knows an alternative coffee shop or two other, which one she doesn't like that much. So if we can definitely create a model whereby we can create incentives so that the customers come, that is good for the business. At the same time, in a food shop, we don't want the customers to occupy a table for say 6 hours. That's not going to contribute to our revenue. But at the same time, we cannot ask them to leave. That's very rude. So is there a mechanism whereby we can create an environment where they don't stay in the coffee shop for too long? So this is basically what incentives is, that yes, that university, the government can always force us to make a decision. Like take the vaccination. This is a forced decision. The government is forcing everybody, all young people now from 12 to from 12 onwards to take the vaccination, and your university is also forcing or encouraging you very well in order to get enrolled into the vaccination program. But this type of modeling we're not interested in. What we are interested in is how can we create an example with a coffee shop that customers will automatically come, they will feel the environment or the need to come again. Okay, at the same time, how can we create disincentives without creating embarrassment? So shall I move to the third topic, the competitive model?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Every discipline, every subject is based on some core assumptions. It looks at the world through those assumptions initially. Later on, as complex experiences come up, some assumptions of those models get broken down. Economics is based on a model called the competitive model. Before I start, I'll tell you this model does not exist in reality. So if it doesn't exist in reality, then why have we done it? Because in front of us, we have, an ideal situation. We compare how much the real world is deviating from that ideal situation. For example, if we take everybody's body temperature now, will it be 98.4?
No, sir.
Accidentally, one or two people will be 98.4. Everybody's body temperature is going to be a little bit more or a little bit less than 98.4. If we take everybody's blood pressure right now, will it be 120 by 80?
No, sir.
Accidentally, one or two people will show 120 by 80. Most of the people here, who, if we take the blood pressure right now, it will be plus minus from 120 by 80. But why do we use those numbers 120 by 80 or 98.4 for human body temperature as an ideal measurement? And then we compare against that measurement. If it is too much or too low, then we can go to the doctor, or then we decide what to do. The competitive model is based on zero market share. Nobody has any market share. No single buyer, no single seller. Is that possible? The market, no buyer, no seller has any market share. Is it possible?
Sir.
Hmm? Is that possible?
No, sir. How can it be possible? Like without, how can a market be stand without buyer or seller?
That means that's not the real ideal world situation, right?
Yes, sir.
The reality is a group of sellers or a group of buyers will always be able to have some kind of control over the market. In economics, we start off with the assumption that nobody has any control. How can that be? There's 20 million people in Dhaka city, right? 2 কোটি মানুষ হবে না ঢাকা সিটিতে?
এর বেশি হবে স্যার, বাট 2 কোটি ইজ ওকে।
আচ্ছা, if 50% of these people eat one egg every day, what is the total demand for eggs in Dhaka city? Isn't it 10 million eggs every day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If there are 20 million people in Dhaka city, if 50% of them eats one banana, the most common fruit throughout the year in Dhaka city, then what is the demand for bananas in Dhaka city? 10 million per day. Isn't that a huge market?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if you go out in the street, these are the two most common items you will see. Siddho dim আর হলো কলা. You will see lots of other foods, etc. selling on the street, but boiled eggs and bananas are the two most common items you will see throughout the whole year. Now, those who sell bananas, can they influence the banana market? Why not? Because a single banana seller will be selling how many bananas every day? 10,000, 20,000. Is that enough to influence 10 million per day? How many bananas will a buyer buy? Maximum 10,000. Is that enough to influence a 10 million per day market?
No, sir, it's not.
It's not possible. So that assumption to start off with, that nobody has any market share, whether they are a group of sellers, individual sellers, whether they are buyers or a group of buyers. Then we are going to show that this will never be the real case, like the human body temperature 98.4, like the human body blood pressure 120 by 80. ঠিক আছে? But then we এই যে এখানে আছে সব এই যে exchanges between households and markets will happen in the market where there's no central coordination. Central coordination মানে কি? Sometimes the government forces us to do something. For example, wear a seat belt. For example, to take the vaccination. Here, nobody is going to tell us to buy bananas. Nobody will tell us to sell bananas or eggs. There will be no central coordination. But everybody will be trying to do the best they can. This is the initial assumption. Later on, we're going to find out that this will not be the case. Everybody is trying to make a profit, whether that's profit as a seller, happiness, utility maximization as a buyer, and there is so much competition in the market that no single seller, no single buyer, or a group of sellers, group of buyers can exert any kind of advantage. Like, acha. So when there is zero market share, Then we have what economics knows terms as basic competition or perfect competition. Firms have zero or near to zero market share. Thus, no firm can influence its market share over others. Consumers are rational. They try to maximize happiness or utility. Firms are also rational. They try to maximize profit. And when we, in the exercise of opportunity cost, we have established that we are trying to maximize net functions. What is that? We are trying to maximize benefit minus cost, if it is something that we like, and we try to minimize cost minus benefit if it is something that we don't like. That's it. So we are trying to optimize the net benefit fund. Okay. Oh, we've already done this. A market for eggs and bananas in Dhaka city. No single buyer, no single seller can influence the market for bananas and eggs in Dhaka city, because although the demand for eggs is very high every day, nobody has any market power over here. This is a competitive model, is just a benchmark, like the human temperature or blood pressure, but this we will be getting out of it. Acha. The next thing in a competitive model is that property rights have to be ensured. What is property rights? The name tells us property rights means my right in order to enjoy a certain thing. That could be my labor. If I give 10 hours of labor to somebody, then I have the right to enjoy my wages. If I am going to invest some money somewhere, then I have the right in order to enjoy the profits. So everything will be very well balanced, very well written that this belongs to me. What advantage does that have? That has that the advantage that has is that if property rights are well defined, people have an incentive to be productive. In the last two classes, we discussed Robinhood, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What did Robinhood do? Robinhood took money from the rich, gave it to the poor. Robinhood had a good intention to do that. But after, is this a sustainable strategy? What will happen after some time? The rich will find out that Robinhood is stealing our money. So what do? We either fight with Robinhood or we try to hide our wealth. এটা করবে না?
Yes, sir. Eventually, it will.
Eventually, it's, in the story, it's a very nice romantic thing. He's trying to help the poor, but in practical terms, this is not a long-term strategy, because lot of people work hard and they make wealth. They become rich through sheer, working very hard and being a little bit clever. So, if they know that they cannot keep their wealth, they will not have any incentive to create it. If I know that if I work hard, I will not get my salary, will I have an incentive to work more? I won't. So the next thing that we need in a market setting is proper, well-defined property rights. Because in the absence of well-defined property rights, people don't have an incentive to be productive. Okay, so where are we? So markets provide incentives through information, through prices. So if the price goes up, buyers respond in one way, sellers respond in another. Prices and profits, and also property rights. Okay, so if the property rights are not well defined, people don't have an incentive to be competitive. আচ্ছা, এখানে একটা ব্যাপার আছে. We don't need to know this from the course, but we can at least know it from ethical situations. Okay, we want rich people to create wealth. So the property rights have to be well defined. Now, every society has a benchmark about inequality. Let me give you a small example. Let's assume if you do well in your MBA, you get a very good CGPA, you will get a good job. Isn't that fair?
Yes, sir. It's very fair.
It's very fair. There's nothing wrong in it. The person who worked hard and the system was fair as well.
Got the
The
job.
person who got 4 or 3.9 out of 4 is well placed. A person who got 3 won't get a good job. Okay, very good. But is this a sustainable strategy? No. Why not? The person who got a good job with a good salary will have access to a lot of opportunities in life. That means that children will also have access to opportunities in life. The person who got 3 out of 4 will have less opportunities in life themselves. Their children will also have less opportunities. So this degree 4 or 3, whatever, over time, won't it create inequality in the next generation?
Definitely, sir.
The question is, we will definitely want people to create wealth. We will definitely want people to be productive. But one of the trade-offs of that is that once we allow this over time, rich people will get rich and their children will get more opportunities than those who are less fortunate. Eta hobe na? Won't this happen over time?
Yes, sir.
So every society has a threshold, every society has a definition, how much inequality it will tolerate. You will not find a single society which is totally egalitarian, but at the same time, you will also not find a society that is highly unequal and it has sustained for a long time. Highly unequal societies will lead to revolution, bloodshed, whatever. So there is always a trade-off between incentives and inequality. We want people to be productive, and that's why we want incentives. But incentives also has a bad side over time. So these are not things that we will discuss in this course, but this is something that we want to, just keep in mind. Acha. Traditional economics assumes that price is the signal, almighty holy grail signal that will lead to resource allocation. So if price goes up, resource allocate in one way, price goes down, resource allocates in another way. Apart from price as a signal to resource allocation, there are 3 more other ways through which resources can be allocated. এই সেমিস্টার আমি এটা ডিটেইলস যাব না, সেটা হচ্ছে can we ration goods by queues? Is it possible to ration? That means restrict people's consumption by putting them in a line. So let me give you an example. The latest iPhone is launching, right? iPhone 13.
Already launched, sir.
Already launched. But are they taking pre-orders?
Yes, sir, they did.
Okay. And they're taking pre-order. That means if you have decided to go for the pre-order, you are standing in a queue, right? Aren't you standing in a line? Yes. Are you standing in a line?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let me give you another example of rationing by queues. Total opposite example. Have you noticed every morning in Dhaka city, lots of people are queuing in front of a truck that is giving food at a very cheap rate? TCB, Trading Corporation.
Yes, sir.
How many of you have noticed it? Kamita, you noticed it, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Who else noticed?
Sir, Samia, sir.
Yes.
Okay, Samia. So Kamita and Samia, where have you noticed it?
In front of Japan Garden City.
Okay, lovely. So that means in the morning when you find some people queuing in front of a truck or something of a government truck, Trading Corporation of Bangladesh, who are selling essential items at a very cheap rate, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but those the trucks, are they selling? Can you buy any amount from them? No. You can buy a certain amount of commodities at a cheap rate. Say 2 kg sugar. 5 kg rice, তাই না?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what happens is by putting people in queues, we are restricting consumption. In the context of iPhones, they're doing this because they want to sell some of their iPhones before it launches to create the hype. In the context of TCB, who is doing these queues to sell some essential food items at a very competitive rate, they are also doing it to ration the supply. They are not using the price mechanism, because if they use the price mechanism, will 1 kg sugar sell at 50 taka? 1 kg sugar right now is something like 70 or 80 taka. And if it is brown sugar, is something like 90 taka. You know that? Some of you who do go to the shop.
Yes, sir.
So if we leave it to the market, then what happens? In the context of those essential items, what will happen is that the price will go up very high. Lot of people won't be able to buy essential food, which is not good for the society. Okay, no government, every government is morally obliged to try their best to give as much as possible to those who can't afford it. This is one way of looking at it, the queues. At the same time, in the context of the iPhone, if the iPhone launches today without this pre-booking, ওদের ম্যানেজমেন্টের সমস্যা হবে না?
Yes, sir.
That's why they do this pre-booking. So what happens? They ration things by offering them in queues, okay, by bypassing the price system. আচ্ছা, বাংলাদেশে কি established lottery আছে? Established every month lottery হয়? Do we have something like this? We don't. But if you go to the UK, if you go to the USA, they have national lotteries. Everybody plays lottery. There will be one prize, say 100 crore taka or 10 crore taka, whatever. The total money that is generated from the lottery, the government takes this money and uses it for some welfare project. That's what they do in the UK. That's what they do in the USA as well. The top person might win 50 million, $100 million. In the UK, maybe 10 million, 20 million pounds. But what happens is they will take this money and use it for something else. Are they using the price mechanism? Are they using a price mechanism? Is there any transaction? Why not? I buy the ticket for 10 taka, thinking that if I win the lottery, I'll get 10 million taka, 1 crore. I mean, most of the times I'm going to lose that 10 taka, right? Can you go to the market and pay 10 taka and not get something?
No, we are always going to get something.
You'll get something. Maybe you won't be happy, but you will definitely get something if you pay money. In the lottery ক্ষেত্রে কি হবে? If you pay the 10 taka ticket, you buy it with the knowledge that you are probably going to lose that money, right?
Yes, sir.
So the price mechanism there is not working, but resources are being allocated. The top person wins 10 million, 1 crore taka, but maybe 100 million, 100 কোটি টাকা হয়তো generate হয়েছে. This money then is used for some welfare job. Diabetic Bardem, many years ago, they used to have a monthly lottery. And with that money, they invested in their Bardem that we see today at Shahbag. So we don't have that type of lottery in this country, but you have the lotto in UK. You also have the national lotteries in Japan. You have it in USA as well. So what they're doing is that they're bypassing the market, they're bypassing the price system, but they're generating funds. That means they're creating wealth. That's interesting. How many of you have bought Ispahani tea or any other tea and then found a little coupon in it?
There was a
Sir, me.
scratch card
I would-
way back. I don't
Scratch
remember.
card ছিল। আচ্ছা
শুধু 2 টাকা পাওয়া যেত।
হ্যাঁ
শুধু 2 টাকা পাওয়া যেত স্যার, আর কিছু পাওয়া যেত না।
আচ্ছা আমি একবার সিলন টি কিনলাম SEY not Sri Lankan Ceylon and then there was a coupon inside that if you take this coupon and show it to the retailer you will get 5 taka of your next purchase. Okay, so I was thinking why did they do this? So what happens, the company can find out how many people come in order to retain a second packet for 5 taka or 10 taka less. The company can also find out কোন অঞ্চল থেকে বেশি কাস্টমার সেকেন্ড টাইম আসতেছে, তাই না?
Right.
So this is one way of creating incentives by bypassing the price system. Okay. At BRAC University, as students, everybody gets a certain number of free prints throughout the whole semester, right?
Yes, sir.
200, 300, whatever the amount is, I don't know. But how do you get it? You have a particular student ID. You punch in your student ID, and then against that, 200 or 300 copies will be free, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but if I use my ID, I won't get it. So
Oh.
coupons is that I devise the coupons in such a way that the person I want to reach it to, the resource gets to that person. For example, if the government might give lots of coupons to in the slums, and that will give a certain amount of food. So if you show it to a shop, they will give you the food. The government will compensate the shop. So is the government using the price mechanism?
Could you please give the explanation again or example again?
Okay. Suppose the government goes to during the COVID times, we are 1 year or 1.5 years back. For the slum গুলোতে খুব problem হয়ে গেছে আমাদের. So what the government decided that the people are they're in deep trouble. So what do? We give them coupons. They show these coupons to a shop, any shop. The shop will give them say 5 kg rice. Then the shop owner will give it to the government. The government will pay the price.
এটা রেশন কার্ড মেবি ইন্ডিয়াতে আছে।
রেশন কার্ড ছিল, এখন আর রেশন কার্ড নাই। রেশন কার্ড was available in Bangladesh even up to the late 80s, 1980s. There was a blue book. If you ask your parents or your grandparents, everybody had a blue book. So you just showed the blue book. So and then for a certain amount of money, for a very, very cheap rate, you will get a certain amount of food. So I had a coupon whereby I could get access to this type of resource. With your student ID, that's also one type of coupon that distinguishes you that as a student you will get 200 or 300 copies free throughout the whole semester. Okay, so এইভাবে what we can do, we can allocate resources by bypassing the price system. Somebody will pay for the resources, that's a different thing, but এইভাবে একটা কুপন দিয়ে কি can't we allocate resources?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir, we can.
So the main thing is that in economics, we're obsessed with this concept of price being the holy grail in allocating anything under the sun. But in reality, what happens is we can also allocate in these 3 ways. Number 1, we can ration by queues. Number 2, we can ration by lotteries. Number 3, we can ration by coupons. In each way, in all three, we can bypass the price system. Acha, this one we discussed a little while ago. Sometimes the government or the governing authority, in your case, the governing authority will be BRAC University. They are a government within your university. But if we look in a wider perspective, then we can think about the government in the context of Bangladesh or municipality in the context of Dhaka city. Forced decisions by government or governing authority can be done. This will also lead to resource allocation. For example, COVID-19 vaccine is distributed by the government. This is not a voluntary exchange. Is this a voluntary exchange? Is this a voluntary exchange?
No, sir.
No, sir, it's not. It's not.
Government forces us to wear seat belts. Is this a voluntary decision?
No.
Some people might do it
Yes, sir.
automatically, but this decision is enforced by the government through law. Okay, so we are not interested in this topic in this course, but this thing is probably you'll encounter it in some other course. When will societies accept forced decisions? Then the question arises, who will enforce these forced decisions and why? BRAC University has some certain monopoly powers whereby BRAC University can force you to do something. আছে না এরকম?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, every government, every governing authority has some monopoly powers whereby they can force people to do something or not do something. When BRAC is doing this, BRAC is acting on behalf of everybody. When the government is doing this, the government has the moral obligation in order to make sure everybody gets a vaccine. The government has the moral obligation to make sure all the drivers wear a seatbelt. And the society also expects the government, in order to give the vaccines, enforce seatbelt rights. So what happens is, governments will do this when the society expects them to do that. So let me give you an interesting example. Food is not free. Sorry. People can't survive without food. But is food free in any society?
No.
No. People cannot survive without water. But isn't water free in many societies or many places?
In some places, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Why is this? Food, you can't live without food, but you won't find a single society in this world where food is free.
Because water resources are more.
Water has no substitute. Food has many substitutes.
Oh, right, sir.
Without food, we can't survive. Without water also, we can't survive. But food has many substitutes. So every society will see that water is usually, drinking water is usually supplied by the government, even if it is supplied at a loss.
Yes, sir.
So the thing is, because the society expects that the government will supply the water for free, or at least at a subsidized rate, which everybody can afford. So we are not interested in this type of forced decisions or made by governments. So the last thing that we want to do is marginal. How do I? Acha. How many of you have done an undergrad course in economics?
Sir, I am sir.
Okay, some of you have. How many of you have not done an undergrad course in economics in your business or economics department, whatever?
I did 2 courses of economics. That's it.
Okay. Even if you had one course in economics, you must have come across the concept of marginal decisions, right?
Yes, sir.
Acha. What are marginal decisions? Number one, why do we make the marginal decisions? এই যে এখানে এক গ্লাস পানি আছে, I'm going to drink the water, say 5 glasses over the next 2 hours. Will I drink all of them at the same time?
No, sir.
No, sir.
If you have a production house, you are going to produce a certain amount of output over the next 5 days. Will you produce it in one shot?
No.
So whatever production decisions we make, whatever consumption decisions we make, we do it incrementally. So the first glass of water when I take, I will find that my additional benefit, my thirst, is much more than the actual cost I pay for it. Once the first glass is finished, then the second glass, when I decide to take the second glass, my additional benefit will be a little bit less than the first glass, right?
Right. Yes, sir.
I've already quenched my thirst with the first glass. So I will take the second glass if my additional benefit is greater than additional cost. This is marginal benefit and marginal cost. When I make a production decision, I'm going to try to sell the thing. So what is my additional benefit? The additional revenue. But in order to make this next 10,000 units or 100 units, there is an additional cost. So what I do, এই যে, we make production decisions in units. How many units this month? 10 more, 20 more, etc. When we make these decisions, there are incremental costs and benefits. Incremental means additional. So how much benefit will I get for the next 10 units? How much is my cost? So MD is the marginal benefit, MC is the marginal cost. Okay, so the calculation is net marginal benefits. If that is positive, then I go for the thing. Acha. এটা আমাদের দরকার নাই. We've already done this. The stream of benefits is greater than the stream of costs. Then we go for the decision. If the stream of benefits is less than the stream of costs, we'd say no. And this is indifference. We'll talk about this later. আচ্ছা, এইটা আমাদের দরকার. There are two averages that we will be obsessed with, or at least we will be looking at. That is your GPA. What type of average is that? Isn't that the average in a particular semester? First semester, second semester, third semester? GPA.
Can you please repeat the question again?
Semester কয়েকটা course, sir.
GPA. This is your average performance in a particular semester, right? That could be the first semester, second semester, or third semester, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But what is CGPA? CGPA is your performance after 1 semesters, 2 semesters, 3 semesters, right?
Right.
Acha. Do you understand the difference between third and free?
Yes, sir.
Third, if we use the word third, we are
It
talking
means
about
yes, sir. One only specific one.
from 2 to 3, right? But if we say 3 units, then we are calculating from 0 to 3.
3. Yes, sir.
So what happens is, as our as our GPA is changing, so is our CGPA. So if our GPA is rising, our CGPA must also be rising, right?
Yes, sir.
If our GPA is falling, our CGPA must also be falling. So GPA is your marginal average. Why? Because it calculates an average for a particular semester, a particular unit. So I might be calculating it for the second semester. Second is 1 unit. But once I calculate the GPA, I get knowledge about the CGPA, which is our cumulative average, the total average. So when we are going to look at averages in this course, we are going to look at it in 2 ways. The average of a particular unit, which we will call marginal average, and the average over the entire spectrum, which we will be calling, the total average. ঠিক আছে? Got it?
আরেকবার একটু বলবেন।
Sure. আরেকবার কেন দুইবার বলতে পারবো? Or just let me stop the share. When we calculate our GPA, we calculate it for 1 unit, 1
Right,
semester.
sir. Right, sir.
So if we are calculating it for the first semester, we are calculating it from 0 to 1.
Yes, sir.
We are calculating it for the second semester, we are calculating it from 1 to 2.
Right, sir.
Third semester means 2 to 3.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But once we calculate the GPA, the first semester 0 to 1, second semester 1 to 2, or the third semester 2 to 3, after that আমরা CGPA information টা পেয়ে যাই না সাথে সাথে?
Yes, sir.
What is CGPA? After the first semester, it's 0 to 1. After the second semester, it's 0 to 2. So we are calculating 2
Two
units.
semesters. Yes,
For
sir.
the third semester, it's 0 to 3. We are calculating 3 units.
Yes, sir.
So just a rule of thumb is, if our GPA is rising, our CGPA will also be rising. The 2 averages just calculated and looked at from 2 different points of view. GPA is our marginal average, CGPA is our total average. Ever clear?
Yes, sir.
That's it. Once we get to that concept, we'll be doing it. So, এটা আমি একটু পরে দিচ্ছি। আচ্ছা, today's reference, did you check the Facebook group after the Saturday class? Did anybody check the Facebook group from Saturday?
Oh, sir.
Okay. This slide is already in the Google Drive. Okay.
Okay, sir.
আচ্ছা এখন আমরা যেটা করব assignment 1 I have made a video. I'm not going to discuss it with you. Why am I not going to discuss it with you? Because I didn't discuss it with the previous section. Okay. So if I discuss it with you exclusively, with section they'll be a little bit cross. So what I did a proper video for 15 minutes, which I'm going to upload in my YouTube channel now, and which I'm going to make available in the Facebook group. You check the assignment 1, the video over there, and then I'm going to send the assignment 1 to you guys by email. If you have any questions regarding the assignment 1, you ask me in the Facebook group.
Yes, sir.
Any question that you don't understand. For example, let me just show you. This is your assignment. Okay, you write these things here. After this is the assignment. Part 1, part 2. ঠিক আছে? Okay. In the video, I have discussed part 1 and part 2, how you approach it. But everybody's personal story will be unique. Unique in the sense that, for example, when you came to do the MBA in, no, wait. এই যে এখানে তিনটা অপশন আছে একটা হচ্ছে you've decided to do the MBA at BRAC, which you are doing now, after comparing with an MBA from an alternative university and a handsome job offer outside Dhaka. Okay, then you discuss based on opportunity cost why you chose BRAC. Definitely Tahmida's story will be different from Rohan, it will be different from Samia, তাই না?
Yes, sir.
Every one of you
Yes,
have
sir.
your benefits and costs in one way. Right now, some of you have calculated financial costs. Some of you who have to travel from a long distance have calculated other costs. Right now,
Yes, sir.
and some of these costs you can see, which you can calculate in terms of money or other metric. Other costs and benefits we can't see, but we can, inject some kind of qualitative degree. And এটাও দেখানো যায়। So the first part is your question and etc. And you write these 2 pages, 2 of 3 and 3 of 3 maximum. ঠিক আছে? এখানে লেখাই আছে you start from here, basically you start from page 2, you cannot exceed page 3 of 3. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And then once you've typed it, I'll check it through Turnitin, but you can send it to me in Google Classroom. Try to get enrolled there. If you haven't been able to get enrolled in Google Classroom, you can send it to me by my BRAC University, what do you call it? The
G Suite ID.
No problem. And but it's preferable to go for Google Classroom, and you can send it as a Word file, you can send it as a PDF file, whichever way you like it. Okay?
Okay, sir.
So is there any other question now?
No, sir.
So what is the deadline, sir?
Oh, that's
29th.
ask this question.
Next
What's your name?
week.
Sir, Samia, sir.
Safia, you are a very clever lady. আচ্ছা সেটা হচ্ছে আজকে দেওয়া হচ্ছে এটা ফ্রাইডে সন্ধ্যা 6টা। You just write your own story. That's it. It shouldn't this is more or less a self-assessment of looking back on doing an MBA or what influenced you to do the MBA. ঠিক আছে?
Sir, I have a question.
Sure.
Sir, is this assignment carrying any mark or is just for self-assessment purpose?
Did you attend the first two classes?
Yeah, sir, I did.
The assignments, 3 assignments that will be marked. 16. Each will be 20 correct. ঠিক আছে? But I try to take 5 assignments so that I can calculate best 3 out of 4 or best 4 out of 5.
Okay. And this will be one of them, sir.
This will be one of them. আমি কেন best 3 out of 4 বা 4 out of 5 করছি, because one of the assignments, for whatever reason, you're not going to get good marks.
Yes, sir.
For whatever reason, you may be sick, you may have some mental anxiety, some other problem, you may not understand the problem. ঠিক আছে?
Exactly.
One of the assignments is going to go wrong. So that's why then হবে কি, স্যার আমাকে একটা মেকআপ দেওয়ার সুযোগ দেন, এরকম বলবা না?
Sir, that happens sometimes, right, sir?
That will definitely happen. And then some of you are going to submit, 1 hour, 2 hours late. স্যার আমার এই প্রবলেম ছিল, নেট প্রবলেম ছিল, এই গল্প দিবে, তাই না?
স্যার আমার একটা কোশ্চেন ছিল।
So that's why, just then I'm answering your question. And that's why I'm going to calculate the best 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5, so that that problem can be addressed. Now, yes, please, what's your question?
স্যার এই শুক্রবারে তো বিসিএস প্রিলিমিনারি পরীক্ষা, তো
Sir,
স্যার
also,
ডেডলাইনটা
sir,
1-2 দিন এক্সটেন্ড করলে ভালো হয়।
Exactly, sir.
Sir, exactly, sir. It's a problem, sir.
It's a huge problem, sir.
শুক্রবার কখন?
Sir, BCS হচ্ছে 12টা পর্যন্ত
সকালে,
sir,
sir.
আস্তে আস্তে অনেক দেরি হয়ে যাবে।
10টা থেকে 12টা, sir.
তাহলে তো okay, I'll extend it by 1 day. ঠিক আছে? But once you see the question, you might be able to finish it tonight. But anyhow, this is যেহেতু a lot of, but it's a national exam. The date will be extended by 1 day. ঠিক আছে?
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
সানডে করেন, ওটা বেটার হবে সবচেয়ে।
আমাকে খাতা দেখতে হবে না। তো খাতা বা টাইম মতো না দিলে তো গুতাতে থাকবা, স্যার খাতা কই স্যার মার্কস দেখতেছি না, তখন তাই না? তো তখন তো আমার লাইফ শেষ করে দিবে। So we'll do it Saturday তাহলে। Okay. Any other questions from your side?
So Saturday by 6, right? The time will be same, or it will be by noon?
Saturday by 6 না, Saturday by রাত 9টা করে দিই আমি, যাও।
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
ওইটা then you'll get a whole Saturday. This is Friday's BCS preliminary, etc. ঠিক আছে? So those of you who are sitting for BCS, আর মুতাসিম,
জি স্যার।
তুমি আমাকে এখনই একটা ইমেল পাঠাও।
স্যার আমি আপনাকে জি সুইট মেল অ্যাড্রেস থেকে মেল করছি।
জি সুইট থেকে?
জি স্যার।
কোথায় করছো?
স্যার আপনার মেল অ্যাড্রেসে তো দিলাম।
আচ্ছা, ওয়েট, লেট মি চেক ইন ফ্রন্ট অফ ইউ, পরে আমি ভুলে যাবো, বুঝছো? There's
জি
every
স্যার।
happen. Always the case. Just a second. Check at your email. Yes, Mutasim Fuad. Acha, your ID is 21164136 and you're in section 2, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely. I'll update your. Acha, one person raised their hand. Anika Kabir, what's your question?
স্যার যে গ্রুপটা করা হয়েছে ফেসবুকে, ওটাকে লিংক দেওয়া হয়েছে ইমেইলে, ওটার
ইমেইলে না, ওটা কোর্স আউটলাইনে আছে।
কোর্স আউটলাইনে? ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, কোর্স আউটলাইন, you'll find it there.
থ্যাংক ইউ।
Okay, any other question from anybody?
No, sir.
Okay, then
sir.
question, মানে অ্যাসাইনমেন্টটা স্যাটারডে রাত 9টা ডেডলাইন দিয়ে দিচ্ছি because of the BCS preliminary, and you guys watch that special video on where I explain assignment number 1. ঠিক আছে?
Okay, sir.
And share the link in Facebook, so you can do it at Rohan, Zaman, Sajid, to everyone. This is the Facebook group. Facebook আমি দেখাতে পারি, wait, where is it? Those of you who haven't seen it or haven't joined yet, okay, this is it. This is the Facebook group. ঠিক আছে? It's ECO 501 Fall 2021 BRAC Unif section 1 and 2 and your new campus. So you can check it out. ঠিক আছে, তাহলে I'm switching out. ঠিক আছে?
Is this university imaginary campus or something like that?
No, it's the BRAC University new campus. That's somewhere in Bonusri, I think, na?
Yeah, I know that, sir, because I'm hearing from it, hearing about it since 2013. I was a graduate from BRAC.
It's been 2013 that they're moving.
Yeah, since 2013 they're moving actually.
Okay, let me give you an example. Sydney Opera House. You've seen it, right?
Yes, sir.
You haven't seen it, but at least you've
We
seen
saw
the,
pictures.
that's one of the greatest examples of how predictions always go wrong. They are spending 12 times the budget. And there was no corruption involved in it. It's just that people could never predict what happens when we predict. We overestimate things we like, underestimate things we don't like. So if you've heard from 2013, then you calculate that they'll start in 2023.
Yeah, that's probably like it. Yes.
Okay, then goodbye, everybody.
Good night, sir.
Goodbye.
Assalamu alaikum.
Good night, sir.